Hello, everybody, and welcome to 38 Weeks to Go, your weekly podcast about fantasy football. This week, we have Tomi Oladipo, manager of Leeds Are Going Up. I just want to say welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So now I have to apologize to you because this should really be your second interview. You were our leader in game week 11, but 45 points, I was just like, man, it just felt too low to do an interview.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, you were our leader that week, 45.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And that was a really tough week.
Game week 11. I can't even remember what that was.
It was AKA the worst week, the nightmare, the winter. It was the disaster. Nobody did
Oh,
anything. It was hell. But so,
okay. I think I remember that one. Yeah.
yeah. So now, welcome. I'm really happy to have you. I'm happy that we're getting to do this.
Yeah, I've been watching from afar, seeing all these guys with all their mega points, topping the table and all that. So I'm honored to be here.
So, tell me, it may be a bit obvious, but some people may not know. Your team name. Tell us about it.
Leeds are going up. So I'm
Leeds
a
are
I'm a Leeds
going up.
United fan. Yeah, I'm one of the rare breed around. But I mean, for those who might not know, Leeds used to be big. We used to be, it used to be Man U, Arsenal, and then the next batch was like Leeds, Chelsea, Liverpool. That was and maybe Newcastle. That was how the Premier League used to look like back in the day, and then we fell on hard times. But I have soldiered on, and yeah, we're fighting for promotion.
Well
So
done. How did you
yeah.
become a Leeds fan though? Was it like Ian Hart?
um, I was actually born in Leeds, so I just
Oh,
sort of ran along with it, I and then it just became a thing. Also, like partly a contrarian thing when everybody was going Arsenal, Man U, and I just felt nah, I can't join them. So
that's fair. So a local boy supporting the local team.
yeah, something of the sort.
That's so cool. So who was your favorite Leeds player?
Alan Smith. Alan
Alan
Smith. I liked his
Smith.
he was sort of a local boy as well, and just rough and rugged. So yeah, that was my guy.
It was so funny because I liked it. I liked it when he went to Man U because I thought he would be a good defensive midfielder because he was so aggressive.
Hmm.
And it didn't work out for him, injuries and all, but I really liked him. I thought he had great potential.
Yeah, he was really good. He was a striker, funny enough. He used to play sort of second striker, slightly behind Viduka. And people like Leeds fans like that sort of hardworking, tough tackling kind of player. So he didn't usually get a lot of goals, but he was always sort of way up there, either with assists and that kind of thing. So I think when he went to Man U was when he went a bit further down towards midfield.
Yeah.
But then also, Leeds fans, well, with the rivalry with Man U, it was kind of Judas
He got
move.
he got
There was little
cancelled.
sympathy. Yeah, he was basically cancelled. There was no sympathy when he got his injury. So
And Leeds was a team that made me realize that Australians can play football.
yeah, we had a
Because
bunch of them.
yeah, because of
Another
Viduka,
Judas with Harry Kewell.
yeah, and Harry Kewell.
Yeah.
Because Kewell was amazing.
He was well, like when they say world class, like he was world class.
Mm.
Incredible.
So, how did you feel about Bielsa getting the sack?
I call myself a Bielsa supremacist. Like Bielsa is your kind of hipster, is your hipster, typical hipster's coach. So I couldn't even believe when we got him as manager in the first place. I think it's no news that he liked the high intensity ball,
Mhm.
and he believed in the beauty of the game and in creating chances. He always talked about like it doesn't matter whether we put in the score the goals as long as you're creating the chances. That's what counts, and created lots. And we had Patrick Bamford. My goodness, what anyway, he scored many goals, but he didn't score enough compared to the number of chances that were created. But anyway, so Bielsa liked a small squad with high intensity, which kind of doesn't make sense because if you're going to play high intensity, then you need to be able to rotate your guys, otherwise they'll burn out. And because he had his loyal first 11. Calvin Phillips got a major injury. Patrick Bamford got a major injury, and so the second season in the Premiership collapsed, but in the Premier League collapsed. But the other thing was also the board didn't give him the signings he wanted. And so they threw him under the bus. They kind of blamed him for everything. But yes, he was to blame in terms of the intensity, but he also didn't get the signings he wanted. So that was probably my biggest football heartbreak. I think I literally cried
I,
when he got the sack.
I can't believe you. I'm a big fan of his. Have you heard that story about him and how he discovered Pochettino?
Yep. When he when he went to his bedroom.
He went to his bedroom, looked at his legs, and said, "Okay, yeah, we're gonna sign him." His methodologies are so interesting. And I remember thinking that when he got sacked, that he was just unlucky. His players were unavailable.
Mm.
Leeds were playing the best football when they had all their players available. It was just
And
unfortunate that key positions were unavailable. Calvin Phillips, Bamford, and then one of Ailing and the other guy on the wing back
uh,
position.
Dallas.
Yes, and Dallas.
Yeah. And what people don't realize is all these guys were rubbish. Like absolutely. So and he's proof for me that coaching actually works because Calvin Phillips would not be where he is today without that guy. We literally what everybody was calling for Calvin Phillips to be sold. This was in mid-table Premiership and mid-table Championship, and people thought he wasn't good enough for a number 15 team.
Yeah.
And now he's way up there. So
I went
that
to
for me
City.
is proof that you don't need to always sign players. You can also coach players to be better, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love how he's transformed players, and everybody who works under him loves him. I
Yeah.
remember when I fell in love with his management style was when he was managing Atletico Bilbao, and I watched them play against Manchester United.
Against Man U. That was a battering.
Masterclass. Was a masterclass. If you guys listening haven't watched that game, just go look for those highlights. Just see what happened.
I think the full game might even be there on YouTube. That's a proper football classic.
Hmm. What are your football classic matches? Name three.
Ooh. Uh wow, that's a hard one. I might need to um probably I mean most recent would be the World Cup final.
Best
Um
football game ever.
that has to be wow, that's a very hard question. Um
I'll give
for
you one of
for
mine.
yeah.
Manchester United versus Real Madrid when Real Madrid were the Galacticos
Hmm.
and Madrid won 3-1. At that point in time, Zidane was my favorite player in the world and he was incredible. I watched that. That's the only football, maybe the second football game now, but it was the first game that I watched the entire 90 minutes standing, just in awe of what Real Madrid were doing.
Yeah, those are the days. I think another a Bielsa masterclass, maybe at Leeds, was not a full game, but the first half against Arsenal in the FA Cup. This was when before Leeds got promoted,
Okay.
and it was at the Emirates, and I think Arsenal didn't know what hit them that day. So I mean, the halftime Arteta was kind of like rejigged things and made a few subs, and Arsenal won, I think, 1 or 2-0.
Yeah.
But that first half, I don't think I've seen a small team outplay a big team like that before. That was ridiculous. And then what else would goodness me, I can't think of one off the top of my head. Probably the Ronaldinho El Clasico, the famous one when he
When
when
he
he got a
cut,
standing ovation at the Bernabeu.
that was an amazing game.
Probably that one.
That was an amazing game. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So tell me, 90 points. How did you feel? What, like, you had 73 points without your captain playing. Did you just, at that point, were like, yeah, I did it. I did the thing.
Do you know what? I've my past few weeks I've really believed in myself. I know I said it to you on WhatsApp and it was a joke, but I actually did did believe in myself in the sense that I've I've been making some calculated moves. I've been playing fantasy since probably 2006 or 7 or whenever it started,
Oh, wow.
way back then. But I've never finished a season. I usually start and then sort of a third way through. I forget and or I never really had a strategy or anything. And this season's the first one I've actually sort of sat down and started paying attention. And a lot of it is a gamble,
Yeah,
but I decided to pay attention to my midfield. So Garnacho, the Saka. So I actually signed him recently.
yeah.
I'm one of those who doesn't believe in Saka. I don't know. I always forget how young he is, but in my head he's like 28. So I always just like, look down on him. And I've got Watkins. That's another one I don't really rate, but he somehow always scores. Matthias Cunha, I'm a big fan. I've been following him since like Hertha Berlin days. And so yeah, that's just sort of a mishmash of my guys. And I just thought I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Mm. Do you think my assess I consider Cunha as I call him a budget Neymar. How
He's one
far
of those
off
unpredictable. Yeah.
do you think I'm from that?
Hmm.
How would you describe him? Because that's what I think of him when I watch him. A budget Neymar.
I think he's one of those who people he's one of those who kind of sneaks in and and people don't expect him to perform and he shocks you. He's one of those guys who goes under the radar. So yeah, I think I get where you're coming from with that. I find him very skillful, very clinical. He just needed time to sort of build up, and I think he'll have a very good season in the end.
I agree. Yeah, 'cause I'm looking at your team. I'm seeing Garnacho 16, Palmer 8, Saka 9, Douglas Luiz 5, and then Cunha 18, Watkins 18. Man, were you just happy? Did you just open your team and just smile?
Believe it or not, I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. I knew that all the only one is Martinez. I think is a bit like you with Cole Palmer. I have Martinez and Areola,
Yeah.
and every time I put one, the other one shines, and when I put the other one, the other guy shines. So I'm never good with them. So yeah, it could have been better with my keepers, but yeah, I've not really changed too much. I haven't
Yeah,
changed my team too much. I've tended to just apart from okay, I did do I did use my wild
wild
card,
card.
but generally I tend to keep my team and
Yeah,
yeah, and just
I've seen since you put the wild card, I think game week 21.
yeah.
And since then, you've it's like you say, you've believed in your team. You haven't really made any big moves. And so,
Yeah, I mean, apart from so really the main changes was just for AFCON.
oh yeah, of
Um
course.
Otherwise, yeah, I thought to just keep these guys. Like I said, with Watkins, I had Haaland for a long time, and then of course he got injured. My thing with Haaland is honestly, I've lost faith in Haaland. I know that sounds crazy, but he started off with a bang, but he got to the point where he was kind of delivering what Watkins was delivering.
Mm.
And then I thought, why keep the expensive guy when you can have the cheaper guy? So I haven't bought Haaland back, and I don't think I will for a while until he gets on a major streak. Then I'll probably rethink it. But for now, I think Watkins will deliver.
Wow. So I'm looking at your team, and then I just have a question for you. How much money do you have in your bank?
I have 9.3.
Because I'm looking at your team and I'm like, I know because I have Garnacho, I know it's like 4.6,
Yeah,
4.7. Look at
yeah.
Saka's okay, it's 9, Palmer's like 7, Douglas Luiz is like 6, then Watkins like 8, Cunha's like just under 6. I mean, just about 6. And then I'm looking at your defenders, I'm seeing Doughty and I know he's not 5 yet. And I'm like, this guy must have money on his bench.
A lot of that came from selling guys like Trippier, Haaland, Salah, and of course De Bruyne was injured, so I think I think he must have gone down for a bit. But the crazy thing about this season is that typically in the previous seasons, the guys who did well were the most expensive guys, but this season you're having a lot of cheap, way cheaper guys doing very well. Guys like Cole Palmer and Garnacho. So I think that's been sort of the cheat code.
Choosing your midfield well.
Yes, I have also realized that the strikers are not performing that well. I mean, you've got Watkins, you've got Solanke and Haaland, but essentially that's it.
It's true.
I mean, there are a couple others here and there, but so I thought, with that
What about Hoyland?
inconsistency, I need to see how he goes a bit longer, but I'm not yet convinced. I'm not yet
And
convinced.
okay.
And then the other thing I didn't realize was I only just discovered yesterday that Richarlison was a midfielder. Otherwise, I would have bought him a long time ago. I always thought he was a striker.
No, I fell under that mistake as well. And then I was like, oh, wait, he's not? Okay. Let me just bring him into my team.
Yeah,
And he
so
rewarded me this weekend.
that's probably going to be my next buy.
So, South Korea out of Asia Cup, they lost in the semis.
Yes.
And so, will you be bringing in Mr. Son now that you have so much money?
Weirdly enough, I've never I don't think in all these years I don't think I've actually relied on Son much, and I think I've been a skeptic. So I've always been the kind of guy who's like, oh, this season will be the one where he fails. And then he just keeps performing and performing and performing. And I thought the same this season. So yeah, that's tempting. So probably I might drop Saka and consider Son because I'm a big Saka hater. Um,
So, wait. Why are you a big Saka hater?
I don't know.
Is it because he missed the penalty?
No, I just he just there's some guys you just think, this guy is okay. It's a bit like what I was saying about Son. I just feel like, this guy is not going to perform next week, and then he does, and then he keeps performing, and I'm like, no, okay, next week he's not going to perform, and he just keeps going on. So yeah,
You know,
same thing with Watkins. I actually reluctantly bought him, but and he's still performing. So
do you
um,
know, I haven't had Watkins in my team this whole season.
no, really,
He's like my son, he's like your son in that I look at him and I'm like, I don't know where to put him. I I mean, he's a striker, but I'm like, I'm not going to remove Alvarez. Alvarez is hot and cold. And then I have Solanke now and I'm like, I don't know. And then I'm not removing Haaland. So I'm stuck.
yeah, no, Haaland, I couldn't risk it. Haaland just, too much. I mean, 14.2 at the moment. That's just insane.
Wait, so who's the most popular player that you haven't had in your team this season?
That I haven't had. Just looking through. I mean, I probably Son. Son is probably the one I haven't got yet.
Okay.
Yeah, because I had Trent at a point. I had Trippier. Yeah, most of the others I had. I had Mbuemo.
Oh yeah, Mbeumo was good until he got injured.
Oh, Solanke. I've not had Solanke either.
Solanke's
So
okay. Yeah,
yeah, I had to pick
that one
between
makes
him.
sense.
Yeah, I had to pick between him and Watkins, so I picked him. Isak is the one I've sort of like now for a player who I always believe will deliver and doesn't deliver as often is Isak. But I'm keeping him. That's the one hill I'll die on.
Wait, okay. That leads me to very well into my next question. Who was the player that you've had the longest with the poorest returns?
Um, hmm. Porous returns. I don't think there's any, I sold Isak when he got injured and then I bought him back again. So
Oh wow, like you're with him like that.
yeah, loyal to the core. Mm, I don't know. I
Okay, then let me
Most of
ask.
the other guys I've swapped in and out, so I've not really stuck to. Probably Trippier was the one I sold him not too long ago, but he was the one I kept for a while.
Okay, then what about regrets? Do you have any regrets of people you signed or people you didn't sign because you signed somebody else?
Um, Pedro Porro I think he's one of my recent signings. I don't know, he just wasn't on my radar for a long time,
Mm,
and I just saw him like constantly delivering, so that was one. Diaby, I held on for too long.
mm,
Uh, and what's his name? Mitoma. I was sort of believing that he would deliver and he didn't. So those are probably the ones I
okay.
stuck too long.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
Gordon is another one I was holding on to, and he, yeah,
Oh,
was off and on.
me from the moment I brought Gordon into my team, he's been amazing for me. And
I'm not sure. There's some of these players I'm not quite sure. Like Newcastle players, Chelsea players, Man City players, apart from KDB.
yeah,
I'm generally not sure about whether they'll
the,
play like because of the kind of squads they have. So I tend to stay away. Apart from Chelsea, apart from Cole Palmer, but the others I just generally stay away.
I know, like I see you have Kyle Walker. I gave up on Manchester City's defense. They I never know. I always pick the wrong guy. And thankfully, this season they've only kept 5 clean sheets.
Yeah, I mean, I've when it comes to defense, Walker, Trippier, Trent, and maybe someone from Arsenal are the ones I've really kind of stuck to because you kind of can predict these big teams and the players who will play
Mm,
from these big teams. So yeah, that's a kind of Walker was kind of fine for me. But defense wise, to be honest, I've not really paid attention to. So actually, it's from listening to you on the pod and you mentioning, Mikolenko and all these other guys. I haven't really studied them much this season
yeah,
to know who to put my faith in terms of the smaller teams, but big
I will
teams.
tell you for free, get Moreno
Yeah.
from Aston Villa. They have
Oh,
a
wow.
sequence of five or four games that's coming up next, and I don't see how they're going to lose. And then cue in, the commentators curse. Then they'll lose the next 4 games. But on paper, the games look easy. Can I tell you a funny stat?
Yep.
Edison, Man City's keeper, he has, I think, 58 points this season.
Wow.
Uh, and maybe 3 or 4 positions below him is Fotheringham from Sheffield United, who has 53.
Hmm.
Fotheringham has conceded 57 more goals than
And
Edison,
Edison.
but is only 5 points below him.
Interesting. Is that because of saves or what?
Yeah, he is peppered with shots. This boy makes saves. He just concedes a lot. I think they've conceded 5 plus goals 4 times this season.
Goodness me.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think I might have had Fotheringham at some point earlier on.
Yeah, at the beginning, Sheffield looked like the team that would be the one out of the three that would make it,
Yeah.
and then they just kept getting injuries. For the longest time, they had over 10 injuries. You can't do anything with that.
Yeah.
So, what about overperformers in your team? Who has been the best surprise for you in your team?
Easily Cole Palmer.
Mm,
Like that's he's basically been my number one starter all season. And I think I guessed and just sort of put him on. I think I saw might have been 1 or 2 games when he started and I just thought, nah, this is it. And I kept him on. So he's been a constant for me.
wow, that's quite impressive. You've had him for that long.
Yeah. As
Wow,
an early he was one of my earliest
purchases.
swaps.
Oh, okay. Well done. So, tell me, how do you approach team selection? How do you choose the players that you have?
I guess from following fantasy all this time, I've gambled a lot and seen certain things that work and certain things that don't. But I've also realized that everyone is choosing the same players roughly. And if it's a competition and you're trying to get ahead of everyone else, you need to do something slightly extra. So I try to have the obvious guys and I try to have a bit of a gamble with a couple of players to see how I can get the edge. So that's my general strategy is to yeah, just be bold about my gambling and but also this season I've kind of found some players I believe in, like I say, and so apart from the ones on my team, I sort of have a second short list just in case. Yeah, essentially that's it. It's having my main players and then having a bit of a wild card in there.
Mm, okay. So, what about when it comes to choosing your fantasy formation? You said earlier that you your main focus is midfield. So does that mean you're going with like 3-5-2? Is that now your preferred formation for the season?
It's currently 3-5-2. I did have a lot of 3-4-3,
Mm,
and which would be it was my front three was for a while was Haaland, Isak, and I think I had Morris as my sort of cheaper gamble there. I think he scored a couple of games and then faded. But generally, I've just found midfielders more reliable. And as I said, this season the strikers aren't you're more likely to get more out of your midfielders than your strikers. So that's why I'm focusing on a 3-5-2.
ah,
And then defenders, you just can't be sure what you'll get with defenders, to be honest. With your Trippier and your Trent. but then Trippier got injured. Trent had his, I think, did he get injured or was he just out of form?
Yeah, I got
So
injured.
yeah, got injured. So for a while, I just sort of ditched the whole defender idea and just focused on midfield.
Ah, interesting. And like now, for example, when you choose a defender, does that mean you lean towards wing backs?
Yes, generally that tends to be it. You know, assists most of the time come from there. So I for a long time it was Trent and Trippier and um Gabriel. No, it was either Trent or Trippier, Gabriel, and then I would pick some randoms. But yeah, so tending to go for Trippier, Trent, I guess was the assists, the free kicks. That seemed to be it. Kyle Walker, to be honest, I'm not sure. I'm not sure because he does a bit of the central thing as well at times. So
Mm.
I just have him there because it's Man City and he's not likely to concede. So
How long have you had Doty for? Because I am a really big fan of his.
do you know what? I think that was from listening to you. I don't think I've had him for too long. Maybe just a few weeks, maybe just before the winter break. I think I had Bell before him, and I couldn't think of how to get rid of him. So I got Doherty game week 21,
Yeah.
so not too long ago. Yeah.
Okay. Because I think he's a surprising choice. He tends to deliver, and for me, he's like Neto.
Yeah.
I know Neto is good. I know he delivers, but I can't put him into my team, and I have no good reason why. If
Yeah.
I
And
if I was more cutthroat with myself, him and Neto would have been in my team a long time ago.
yeah. Oh, I've just remembered the other thing about sort of I guess this is more transfer strategy than selection strategy,
Yeah.
but I also try to part of my gamble is also trying to predict when someone's going to lose form,
Ooh.
um, and sell them the week before everybody's going to sell them,
Wow. How do you even
rather
determine
than
that?
just looking at fixtures, looking at fixture congestion, and sort of I treat FPL a bit like a bit like I'm a trader, like a stock trader.
Okay.
Try to sell high and buy low type of thing.
That makes sense.
Um, so that's my general gamble. So it works for some and fails for others. That's probably why I'm stuck in mid-table. Like seeing AFCON was coming, and I decided to sell everybody like a week before the final game before AFCON.
Yeah.
So I had Kudus, I had Salah. Yeah, so I thought to get rid of them before everybody gets rid of them.
Wait, did you miss out
Um,
on the Salah hat trick or whatever it was his before he left?
what was that game week? No, I don't think I did. I think I hang on, where are we? Salah 16. That was game week 20. Yeah. Game week 20. I sold him in game week 20. So yeah, maybe hmm. So I might have missed out on that. Yeah, so that's part of the gamble, isn't
Okay. Okay,
it?
okay. No, it happens. It happens. And so you previously said that you were very happy with how your team looks. And you said you've been pretty confident in it. And I want to ask you, how how did you choose your team that because you used your wild card when you chose a team that's gonna be, I guess, leading your front line for the next few weeks, how did you decide that these are your 11?
A lot of it also has to do with looking at the fixture calendar. I mean, yeah, looking at the fixture calendar, sort of looking ahead, because sometimes I also consider that there might be times when I'm busy and I forget to change my team in time for the
Mm,
deadline.
yeah.
So I just try to factor that in mind and play safe and of course keep in mind the sub. But again, as I said, like a lot of it's gambling, to be honest. Hoping for the best.
Hoping for the best. And when it comes to captain choices, like, since the turn of the year, Haaland was unavailable, Son was unavailable, Salah was unavailable. How did you end up choosing your captains? What was the new criteria?
Now that one has been complete guesswork. That has been, and I've not got it right. I always pick someone who never delivers. Like I'm just looking back and I had Watkins, he gave me 2 points. I think I had okay, De Bruyne has given me 10 and 14. Yeah, so that one's just been a complete failure. Maybe that's the difference between mid-table and top of the table. So I had Douglas Luiz. I don't know why. I had
Yeah,
Isak. He gave me 14.
no, that wasn't
So
bad.
yeah, I don't think I've got more than 20 from a captain. Like Isak, another 2 points. Like it's just been a mess. Salah
Oh,
6. Yeah, so
Polly, that's a tough one.
yeah, that's
Because
complete guesswork.
I've seen people have really been struggling. Now that Haaland is back, this game week, 10 people had him as their captain. Straight. They're
Wow.
like they were done. They were done guessing. They were done with this, not knowing who to put as captain. So it's straight. Haaland. Him and KDB were the most popular captain choices.
Yeah, I reckon I'll go between KDB and probably Watkins. Those probably even Watkins. Watkins seems like the most consistent. I had Palmer at a point. Yeah, maybe Watkins. But I haven't seen a player this season who's just sort of bam, 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 gone all out consistency. They either do well and then get injured or it's the sort of off and on. So yeah.
Hmm. Now, game week 25 is coming up and it's a double game week. Do you have anything planned for that? Are you going to be making changes?
I probably will. I probably will. I've got two free transfers as well, and I've got a lot of money in the bank. So,
Yes, you do.
so this might be a time for a change. I haven't actually studied the fixture list, so I need to do that. But I think I'm at a point to make some changes. I don't know who though. Maybe apart from Isak, I think it's time to drop him again, and
Well,
maybe I don't even know who else I would take. Maybe one of the defenders, and maybe bring back Trent or Trippier. But yeah,
yeah, because you have Man City, Brentford, Liverpool, and Luton playing twice.
all right. Maybe Tony. Maybe this might be the time for Tony.
It
So
might be, but he's playing Man City and Liverpool. So
yeah. But I
it's
you can't bet against the man.
true.
He's one of them.
It's true. He has been good in the two of the three games he's been back.
Yeah.
And then the week after that is a bit of a blank game week. Or rather, there'll be two teams that won't take the field, two matches. So
The
there's
other thing
some
is, I think I usually also panic buy at the end. So like with an hour, I get the alert that you've got a couple of hours to go. That's when I start fiddling around. So maybe I don't give too much thought into some of my transfers. So I might need to
Mm.
to revise harder.
Have you used all your chips?
Everything, yeah,
So you wait,
everything.
so you've used the double game week? I mean, at the double game week,
Have you
the triple captain.
triple captain? I think I think it's one of those where I got like 14. Like,
Oh no.
yeah, man.
That was so painful. I saw
I,
somebody
I
who triple captained Romero and he got, I think, -4 on that game week.
oh goodness me.
It was horrible. Oh,
I
so
think I
wait,
need to
so
scroll. I don't even know when I did it, but I know it was one where it was I think yeah, it must have been Haaland that he got like an assist instead of a goal or something.
that's painful. So
Yeah.
you used so you used both wildcards. So you used the one before
I have this habit of using my wild card very early in the season. So maybe like
game week 3, kinda.
game week 3 there about, yeah.
Mm.
So good thing there's a second wild card.
Wait, and then when did you use your free hit then?
I don't know. I actually don't know. I it's part, it's part of the gambling.
Wait, and so you've already used your bench boost.
I have used my bench boost. Hang on, let me see. Pick team. Oh no. Hang on a sec. Wait, I have everything. Why do I think I use them?
Oh,
I have it says I have my bench boost and it says I have my triple captain.
okay.
Think I've used no, I haven't used my free. Yes, I have everything. Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
so
Oh, look at
game
you.
on. Game on.
Look at you. The future is looking bright.
Yeah, yeah, let's hope. But some of the guys on the table, man, guys are way ahead.
Yeah, but it's not too bad. I think you're just about 100 points behind number one, if I'm not wrong. And
Yeah.
that's not impossible. Yeah,
I
it's
don't,
actually literally 98 points. This table is actually wow, this league is not that tough. I mean, this league is tough. It's quite close.
Closer than I might have thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 100 points in fantasy isn't bad. It's not like you're trying to get 6 points off of Man City, you know?
Yeah.
And over the last 2 weeks, these top five players have been making questionable decisions with their captains.
Interesting. Yeah, the captain thing is just,
Make or
yeah,
break.
that's probably one of the hardest to pick.
Shit, you're just 20, 30 points behind me. That's not bad. Hey, I need to pull up my socks. I need to get because I'm
We're
looking.
coming for you.
Yeah, I'm looking. Below me is just 2 points, and then 10 points, and then 20 points. Also, now I saw you just overtook Joji.
Yeah. Because I think I've been around sort of 12, 13 for a long time.
Okay,
So finally making top 10 now.
and now random question. Now compare this to like last season. When you're making your team, is it easier for you now that Leeds are not there?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. In fact, I never used to, I think apart from Ronaldo when he came back, I never used to pick my new players. I used to have all um, those kinds of what's the word?
Prejudices.
Sentimental, yeah. Those prejudices. But now I think I've no affiliations to anyone. And yeah, just a bit more ruthless.
Hmm. Like a trader.
Yes, pretty much. And I don't even trade in real life, but yeah.
So if Leeds come up, because I've seen they're third in the championship. So when they were here, you said that your heart balance was a bit messed, more heart
Yeah,
than
because I,
logic.
I because I was always trying to go. I would always pick like the random, not even like the Leeds best player. I would pick like the kid who like Nonto
Yes, the
was the
Italian.
star last season, but he wasn't like. In fact, he's just literally scored right now. I'm watching the FA Cup game.
Ah,
Was it Carabao? He wasn't like the top player per se, but I was picking him because I thought he would do well and everybody would buy him. So it was kind of like a getting in early.
mm.
Mm. So that kind of, yeah, hipster type of, I was here first. Um, so yeah, so I had guys like Harrison, but Harrison is the most, I think Everton fans are realizing now is this is the most frustrating player. Can be good and then absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was kind of how it was. I was making some questionable signings.
So I don't know if you've heard the interview with Moses Chege,
Yes.
and he is pure heart, no logic. He's just like Chelsea are playing. He's a Chelsea fan, so he has three Chelsea players. I think he puts Palmer as his captain every week. And so, were you like that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And to be honest, I think I'm still doing a bit of that right now. But my problem is that usually I do this thing where I stick with a player and then he doesn't deliver, and then when I sell him is when he starts to deliver. So that's why with some players I kind of double down.
Mm,
But this season, I think I'm learning now with Isak that you can't really do that. So
mm.
yeah, you have to be realistic.
Okay. And that's a good segue into the next topic. Now, for the people who are below you, like below number 10, you're number 10 now, and we're 24. Those people who are closer to 24 than they are to number one, what advice would you give them to change their luck?
To scale up. I think it's I think people need to gamble a bit more because, like I said, everyone's kind of making the same move. So you need to find a way to find your player who you think will will deliver when no one else thinks they will. And I think that's where you go with like a triple captain. And I'm not saying go for the obscure person, but like
You're
a
not
Palmer,
saying triple captain Pedro Porro.
no. No. But I would say, like a Trippier, for example,
Mm.
because he can deliver. If one day he'll come with like a goal and two assists or something like that, or Palmer or someone like that, rather than the obvious, Saka and Salah and Haaland and those ones. I honestly, I I stand by it. I don't think Haaland will deliver in a stretch more than what any other striker will. Not because he's not capable of it, but you have to factor in injuries and fixture congestion and all those kinds of things. And Champions League that someone like Watkins doesn't have, you
Mm,
know. So it doesn't make Watkins better than him. It just means it just you just have to be realistic about what you
yeah.
think rather
And
than
then also Doku doesn't pass to win the ball. So
oh yeah, that too. Speaking of Doku, I remember as soon as he came in and he started, I think he had a game where he delivered and I bought him instantly. And I think I even captained him.
I
And
remember when he scored the 4 goals, he got 22, 23 points. Next week,
exactly.
Tommy. How did that
And I made
escape
him
your biggest
crazy.
regret?
Yeah, that probably that one. Probably that one. But he seems to be back, so
Yeah. He seems to be like now sort of getting into the flow of things.
exactly. So but again with a Man City player, you just don't know. Like look at Foden now. Foden's performing, but then before you know it, Pep's dropped him and put, someone else. So
Yeah, Grealish.
that's yeah, exactly. So that's why I just, you know,
Yeah, it's really hard to pick a Man City player.
yeah. Even Alvarez, to be honest, is Alvarez is one everyone had, and I've just steered clear because I don't know. He keeps playing, and but I'm not convinced yet.
You
Maybe I
know,
will be.
the only reason I got him into my team is because KDB got injured. And then he sort of
Yeah.
seemed to sit into that role so quickly. And I thought, I know he will play because they need this kind of player that's not a winger, but can attack through
Mm,
the center.
yeah.
But now that KDB is back, I think,
And Haaland is back.
yeah, I think there'll be a rotation.
Yeah.
Huh. I swear, Pep Roulette is just so wild.
Yeah. Really, really weird.
I've got a question for you, which I ask pretty much everybody. What is your current unpopular football opinion?
Hmm. I think um I'm gonna think of I'm trying to think of my I was gonna say I think Saka is overrated, but then I'm just looking up his age and he's 22, so I'll keep that.
You know, you're the
I'll
third
keep
person
that
who
to
has that
myself.
opinion. I think it's a popular opinion now. It's no longer unpopular.
So I would say, hmm, I should have thought about that before actually coming. I
Okay, let me give
uh,
you one as you're thinking. And it's okay if you don't have any. Mine is Liverpool are going to struggle without Klopp. I mean, that sounds obvious, but I
oh
mean
yeah.
like I mean Chelsea like
I think what happened to Arsenal will
post
happen to
Wenger.
Liverpool. Yeah, plus Wenger. I agree. I
I
agree.
Klopp was great and he's been immense for them. And when you take that away, I first of all think that we will start to see people like Salah leave. I think this is going to be the right time to cash in on him.
Hmm.
And I feel like there'll be two or three other players, and then now their goals will be, unless Nunez now develops into something, he will be their biggest goal threat. Him, if Jota stays, and Diaz. And that would be interesting.
I I think I'm just thinking of my unpopular opinion, but I would say that apart from that I don't I think the gap has closed. Let me put it that way. If you take away Man City, I think the gap has closed.
Yeah.
And there used to be this thing about the big six is untouchable,
Mm.
but I think that is more a mental thing than reality. And I think the league has got to the point where most teams can beat any team.
Yeah, look at what Brighton have been doing apart from recently, but they have been amazing.
Yeah, so I think that we're not far away. Okay. Hoping and praying Man City get their deduction and get relegated. Um, I think we're not far away from seeing another Leicester.
Oh, so you think Spurs can do it?
Yes, I believe so. I believe so. I think if you were to get Man City out of the way, if they were to actually drop
Yeah.
or have like really harsh punishment, I fancy any of the sort of top. I would even throw in like a one of the sort of Villa West Hams in there.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah, Aston Villa look
it's
like they
wild, I
could
know.
do it.
They will obviously fail the following season because Champions League and all that,
Yeah,
but I think we're not far away from that.
interesting. Have you heard of the over 35 World Cup that's going to happen this summer in England?
Yes,
How do you feel about that?
I think it'll be underwhelming. I think we're all lying to ourselves if we think it'll be an exciting tournament.
What do you think this says about football? Do you think, like, I've been seeing arguments lately that the best players, the best era of football was like that. Zidane, Totti, Ronaldo, Figo, Del
I
Piero. Like,
actually feel very strongly about that.
there were very many good quality players.
I feel very strongly about that. Maybe that should be my take, but I don't know if it's an unpopular. I think it's
Well,
becoming more popular now.
give it.
But the other day I was watching the you remember the Nike advert, the cage match?
Ooh, Jogo Bonito. Those ones
Exactly. I
with
saw that and
Cantona.
I'm like, all these players played at the same time? That's mad. That
Yeah,
is mad. Like, I don't think we
fully
hold it that
appreciated
highly
it.
enough. Yeah, you're a championship manager, old head like me. If you
Yes.
think back to Champ Man and think of all the strikers you had at that time,
Yeah.
you're talking guys who even didn't make like one considered top. Your Roy Mackay's, all these kinds
Wow.
of guys who were proper bagsmen and
Yeah.
they weren't even considered elite. And I just feel like the game has fallen off in the sense that it's it's more like a chess game now. So it's more the battle of the managers rather than the battle of the players.
Mm.
And so technically, all the players are very technical and they're workhorses and they're superb athletes. But it's
The game has
it's
lost
almost
something.
yeah, it's like putting two planes on autopilot and say let's watch them race. But it's the machines operating on their own rather than the sort of individual. And I think that's why someone like a KDB, yes, he's good, but that's why he stands out so much because there are not many like him where you can look around and say, oh, that other team has this guy and this other team has this guy.
Yeah.
I think the game has really lost that. And yeah, I think football is less enjoyable now than it was back then. Yeah. So the entertainment value in football, I think, has dipped significantly.
I can believe that. And that's also one of the reasons I like the guy from Napoli, Kvaratskhelia.
Mhm.
He, Kvaradona. Have you heard of him? Have you watched him?
Yep. Yep.
One of the things I
I,
liked about
I
him is
watched a lot of them last season.
he's an orthodox approach to the game because everybody seems to have gone through like the academy and
Mhm.
you do this and then you go back. Like if you look at wingers from I should have saved this for another take, but wingers today aren't like wingers of the past.
Yep.
You see before, and that's kind of like why I like Nuno Espirito Santo. When he has his wingers, those boys will run at you like nothing else.
Yep.
But nowadays, people are more concerned about not losing the ball
Mhm.
and phases of play and just like maintaining control of the game.
Yep.
Because before you can just, if you just to think about the wingers that have existed in the game, you'd be like, oh wow, like there was Overmars and he had the ball, phew, he's gone.
Exactly. Exactly.
The Robins, the Ribery's, and now you
There was a lot
look,
more bravery and players willing to take on their man. And now there's this thing of, it's like the whole, we try a sequence. If it doesn't work, we recycle the ball and then try the sequence again. And it's just mechanical. It's just sort of so predictable.
yeah,
So yeah, that kind of oh, I have a another hot take. I think Darwin Núñez is I don't want to say underrated, but I want to say like he will come good and he will shock people. Maybe that's my hot prediction.
I loved
Um,
him in Benfica. And
yeah,
so when he came to the Premier League, I was very excited. I think he requires time. I think the English media is just too harsh, but I share your view. I think he will come good. And
I, I
in
I
like a
think he
Luis
will get to a
Suarez
point
way.
where yeah, exactly. I agree. I think he will come to a point where people are going to eat their words. He's I think he's remarkable. And I like his, he makes some big misses and that doesn't put him down. Most other players would sort of be down, and he just carries on. And I really like that about him, his persistence. So yeah, he's my one to watch.
Okay. All right. And with that, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for making the time to be here. And also, thank you for sharing with me the whole FPL Mundo thing. I think it's been a great addition to our 38 weeks to go ecosystem. And I just want to say thank you.
No, it's a pleasure. I actually thanks for the pod and everything. Actually, I listen to every pod. So I or most the vast majority of them, and that also probably would be what's helped me put a lot of thought into my teams. So yeah, thank you.
No problem. All right. I hope to talk to you again. So keep it up. I
I
know
hope
you've got faith in your team, so I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
for sure, for sure.
All right. Have a good day.
Cheers.
Okay.